Raptor Red, Cassette 2.
Late May. The Computer of Sisterhood. Scratch, scratch, wiggle, scratch, scratch. The Utah Raptor chicks wake up scratching. Scratch! Raptor Red and her sister wake up scratching too. The itchy feeling makes their spirits sag. Both adults know what they're scratching at. Ticks. Tiny green and brown ticks. Ticks that thrive in the underbrush made damp by spring rains. Ticks that have a narcotic saliva so they can bore a hole with their snouts straight through a raptor's hide without the raptor knowing it. Ticks that are nearly impossible to scratch out once they've embedded themselves. The adult Utah raptors fear ticks more than an angry herd of iguanodons because ticks cause pain and disease and death. Ordinarily, the raptors would roll in soda mud to smother skin parasites. Back when she was growing up in Mongolia, Raptor Red followed her parents into a mud bath in a soda lake every other day in the spring. It usually worked adequately. The Mongolian ticks, most of them, would drop off after being coated in soda mud. Some would stay bored in, suck blood, drop off later on, and hatch their tick babies under a moist bush somewhere. The native Mongolian ticks rarely debilitated their raptor hosts. These Utah ticks are different. Their borings into the skin cause nasty swelling. When the raptors scratch with their paws or rub against a rough bark tree, the swellings get much worse. The Utah raptor's internal defense, the immune system, seems unable to cope with the side effects of the Utah ticks. The two raptor sisters and the three chicks walk over to the iguanodon and eat their fill. The two adults fidget and scratch and look at all the low trees nearby. They want to find a very special little animal, a species that raptors view as a friend. No luck. The pack wanders over to the riverbank to drink. Raptor Red is much more nervous now than when she was alone. She's anxious for her sister's chicks. Built into her mental processes is a computer that evaluates kinship. Her eyes and ears, and especially her nose, can detect another raptor who's close kin. Every breath she takes in company with her sister affirms their close blood bond. Her subconscious computer has a hard and fast rule. Take care of your own chicks first. Each one is one half of yourself. Take care of your sister's chicks next. Don't waste time on any other blood relative. Raptor Red has failed to bring her own chicks into the world, and so the strong hand of instinct encourages her to devote herself to her sister's chicks. Those chicks carry a share of her own genetic individuality. Saving her sister's chicks is saving herself. A gentle swirl of the water's surface betrays the presence of a 4-foot-long crocodile, a Bernasartia. Too small to attack an adult raptor, but crocs are clever opportunists. As a chick, Raptor Red saw another sister disappear into a turbid Mongolian river, only to reappear minutes later in the jaws of a croc. Raptor Red splashes out a few yards and hisses at the croc, who submerges without a sound. The pack drinks. The chicks play, making too much noise for Raptor Red's peace of mind. They jump on Raptor Red's back, then jump down into the water, where it's a foot deep, throwing up a muddy fountain. The adults have had enough. Raptor Red picks up one chick gently but firmly in her jaws and carries it back onto the meadow. Her sister picks up another. The third chick instantly loses its playful courage and darts back to the rest of the family. The crocodile lies motionless, 5 feet under the surface. She's neither angry nor afraid. She thinks her slow, repetitive crocodile thoughts. Wait, 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 wait. She's a perfectionist at waiting. She's only 1/10 as heavy as Raptor Red, but she's much older. She hatched 34 years ago, and she's the best croc mother in all of Utah. Over the last 22 years, she's successfully brooded 20 clutches of croc eggs, each with 8 to 20 hatchlings. 2 years were too dry to lay eggs. She's a fiercely protective croc mom. She's never hesitated to rush from the water, open-mouthed, at any dinosaur or male croc that got too close to her progeny. This threat, accompanied by extravagant splashing, always worked. Now there are hundreds of adult or near-adult crocs in Utah who are her children. And there's even a brood of her grandchildren. Her croc genes will take over her species in the next dozen generations. She's a gold medalist in mothering. Crocodile motherhood depends on patience. The croc mother can wait 2 weeks for her next meal because her metabolism per pound of her body weight is very low. She can stay underwater for an hour, not breathing, because she can shut down her internal metabolic furnace nearly completely. Her present wisdom comes from the slow, deliberate way the croc race lives out its life cycle. She grew very slowly, learning much every year, not reaching breeding size until she was 12. The croc mother wasn't rushed into adulthood the way the Raptor sisters were. Their hot-blooded growth rate propelled them into sexual maturity at the age of 4 or 5. They had to learn fast, take chances, and live in the metabolic fast lane. So the croc mother sits and waits and waits. Her tail tip is missing, and she has long scars across her back, reminders of her youth when she tried to ambush dinosaurs too big to drag easily into the water. She hasn't made another such a mistake in a decade, and she never will. She'll die slowly of old age when she passes 60, when thousands of her offspring will have colonized every river system in North America. When she dies, her bones will bleach to dust on a riverbank, but her multitude of progeny will spread and proliferate. Her genes will be carried in most crocodile species in the modern world. The Raptor sisters pay no attention to the croc after she submerges. For them, out of sight is out of mind. The sisters look around again for that special friend in their environment, the friend that can help them with ticks. It's a lazy afternoon for the pack. They lie near the iguanodon, casually feeding now and then. The little chicks chase each other in and out of the cavernous rib cage. They've been out of the nest, big enough to explore on their own, for only a couple of days, and they get bolder all the time, expanding the distance they dare to go from their mother. There's so much fresh iguanodon meat now that their sibling competition is temporarily suspended. Still, the scratching and itching disturb Raptor Red's mood. Her sister squawks, stands, leans forward, and squawks again. It's a funny sound, loud, but not threatening. Raptor Red stands up too and squawks. The squawk is a rarely used signal. It means, I'm here, I won't bite, I'm here. A soft sound of feathered wings comes from the tops of some tall cycad trees. A bounding troop of sinorns, a Chinese bird species who invaded the Americas along with the raptors, flit down a few dozen feet in front of the raptor pack. Raptor Red is beside herself with excitement. She scrunches down, laying her head and neck along the meadow floor, trying to look as meek and non-threatening as she can. But she can't control her tail. Its stiff rear end twitches side to side. The sinorns take off immediately. Calm, 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 she thinks to herself. She closes her eyes. She focuses inward. Her breathing slows. Her tail stops twitching. The sinorns return. Raptor Red can hear them. They're very close. One of the birds pokes its snout up Raptor Red's nostril. Ka-sneeze! She can't help herself. She opens her eyes. The birds are gone again. Calm. Calm. She lies motionless for 2 minutes. Then she feels what she's wanted all day. Tiny bird feet walking up and down her back. She winces very slightly as a red-hot spark of pain comes from just behind her shoulders. Then another, then 2 at once. But after each spike of pain comes a lingering warm feeling, a mixture of throbbing blood flow and relief. The chicks watch the operation. They've never seen it before. A half-dozen signorns are methodically surveying Raptor Red's back. Each bird stops every minute or so to reach down, carefully place its beak over a tick, and remove it with a twisting backward head movement. The chicks charge the birds, hissing. Raptor Red's sister growls an authoritative rebuke. The chicks shrink back, and the birds return. For a wonderful hour, the adult raptors get groomed and plucked and bitten and de-ticked. The signorns even open the edges of the tick-induced wounds, nipping off infected skin. That really hurts, but the raptors endure it. They've been through it before. They know that a few days in the sun will heal the wounds with hardly a trace. Unfortunately, the chicks are too rambunctious to learn the joys of bird grooming. When a signorn alights on a chick's back, the chick tries to bite it. Raptor Red's sister has to interrupt her grooming repeatedly to snarl menacingly at her offspring. It's too much for a mother to bear. Raptor Red's sister slowly rises, using smooth movements of legs and back so as not to scare the birds. She flicks out one long hand and flattens a chick to the ground. Grrr! The chick gets the message. It lies still. The other chicks stare, speechless. They've never seen their mom so angry before. Thus the chicks learn, reluctantly, to sit still while being serviced by tick birds. In Raptor Red's mind, this meadow will always be associated with healing ministrations from the signorns. Tick Bird Meadow is a good translation of how her memory labels the locale. Raptor Red and her sister hum inaudibly to themselves as if to say, "This is the life. Now it's very fine." The afternoon is unusually warm and dry with no thunder showers. The tick wounds feel much better already. All 5 raptors are stuffed with fresh meat. Best of all for the 2 adult females, the chicks' bellies are so distended with oversized portions of iguanodon that they can't walk, so they can't get into any mischief. The pack stays at Tick Bird Meadow for a couple of weeks, hunting in the early morning and late afternoon, coming back to be groomed before sundown. Raptor Red senses that, however desirable the spot seems, they'll have to move soon. Too many other predator groups are shifting their hunting ranges. There's great instability and unrest in the geographic boundaries claimed by raptors and by the bigger, ridge-backed meat-eaters. It's a young, turbulent ecosystem. The invasion of Mongolian dinosaurs and of species from the other direction, from Western Europe, has upset an ecological organization many millennia old. The new arrivals seek to establish themselves, stake out territories, protect their food resources, and raise young. But the breeding groups of old-time native species refuse to give up real estate to the invaders. So populations of native and invader are jostling each other, and predator packs are moving hundreds of miles each season, far more than they would in a normal year. As the sun sets, coloring the dust clouds kicked up by distant herds, the adult raptors become more alert. The stream valley is so richly stocked with game that many species of predator, large, medium, and small, are being drawn in. Late one afternoon, Raptor Red can see silhouettes of meat-eating dinosaurs far away on the horizon. Their body forms are outlined with great sharpness and clarity, as if they were paper cutouts hung in a picture window looking out on the sunset. The distant predators walk slowly, then sit down, flexing knees and ankles. Both Raptor Red and her sister pay very close attention to how the unknown predators sit. Raptors sit upright. They have a big cushiony pad of tough skin below and behind their hips. The cushion lies directly below the huge pubic bone, longest and strongest of the hip elements. Since the cushion is oriented aft and downward, raptor torsos are held nearly erect when the raptors are relaxed in sitting position. Only raptor species sit this way. All other predators have a built-in pubic cushion that goes straight down from in front of the hips, at a right angle to the backbone. When these non-raptors sit, they lower their torsos into horizontal position. One by one, the 5 distant predators sit. Each one lowers its compact torso straight down. Each one sits with its shoulders close to the ground. The predators are too far away for the Utah raptors to judge their size directly, but shape is a clue to size. Not our kind, the sisters think. Too big. Danger. The sisters can see that the unknown predators have short, thick necks and deep, heavy muzzles. Those shape contours belong to ridge-backed Acrocanthosaurus, giant carnivores that are 3 tons full-grown. 5 acros are 15 tons of unstoppable muscle, tendon, teeth, and jaws. The giant predators hardly ever travel in groups of 4 or more. These 5 are brothers from one brood who have not yet split up to find individual mates. Such bachelor packs can be unpredictable and violent. The raptor family stays where it is, but both adults rest with eyes half open and nostrils flared. The acros don't stir at all during the night. The raptor sisters rouse the chicks before daybreak and nudge them into movement. The wind has shifted, and the irresistible smell of the astrodon calf that the raptors killed the day before has reached the 5 acros. They are getting up, stretching, making high-pitched calls to advertise their presence to any female acro who might be nearby. Food and courtship are now conflicting calls for these acros. 2 wander away, tracking the scent of a female acro. The 3 others start toward Tickbird Meadow at a fast clip. The raptor pack leaves the meadow. It's foolish to contest the astrodon carcass with 3 acros. Besides, there isn't much meat left on its body, and hunting should be good elsewhere in the valley. The raptor sisters move on a couple of miles. Then they start looking for another big kill, something at least a ton. It's much more economical than trying to feed the pack assorted lesser fry, like turtles, crocs, fish. They spot another iguanodon herd. The valley is overrun with them, and creep around to the upwind side. Raptor Red and her sister are just getting into a superb ambush position, hidden in deep reeds by a spring, when a head pops up abruptly a few yards away and stares at them. It's a raptor head, with a red muzzle. Another red-muzzled raptor snout pokes up. The sisters realize that they aren't the only pack trying to ambush the iguanodons. There's no noise. Neither pack wants to spook the iguanodons. Raptor Red is confused. Her sense of smell tells her that both new raptors are young males and not close blood kin. She doesn't detect any new females nearby. The 2 males are non-threatening. They lower their heads in a quiet head bob, head weave. It's a tentative greeting and a prelude to courtship. Raptor Red wants a new mate. Her biological urge to bond, brood, and raise chicks of her own is becoming more insistent every day. She hasn't forgotten her lost mate, But she feels a calling to get on with her reproductive duties, the highest calling any dinosaur can have. One of the males advances and begins a more formal courtship dance. He's lithe and graceful and healthy, with smooth motions and not a hint of injury or disease to mar his performance. Raptor Red watches coyly. She's heavier than he is, and stronger. All red-snout females are strong enough to repulse most males. Raptor Red is programmed to make the male prove that he's worthy, that his genes are worthy for making healthy raptor chicks with her. The male would score a perfect 10 in difficulty from an Olympic Utah raptor judge. He manages to go through the entire courtship ritual without making any loud sounds or movements that the iguanodons could see. This one, this male, very, very smart. Raptor Red has been courted several times before, but never with such a bravura combination of stealth and exuberance. She's making up her mind to forget the hunt for today. She can kill tomorrow. The iguanodon cows stop feeding, turn their heads, and bellow deep alarm sounds. A stampede begins. Raptor Red's sister holds her body high, making exaggerated strides toward the males, flicking her curved hand claws in and out. Raptor Red blinks. Her sister's making a full-fledged threat display. She wants to hurt the two males. The older chick, who was hiding some distance away, wanders up behind its mother and tries to imitate her hissing malevolence. The male looks surprised. His pupils dilate at the sight of the chick. He lowers his body as far as he can and starts to back away. Now Raptor Red is pulled by conflicting instincts. She wants that male. He's the finest male she's ever seen, or at least the finest she can remember. She cannot join in her sister's attack. But she can't leave her sister's chicks either. Raptor Red watches as the males withdraw. Her sister returns, still visibly agitated. Raptor Red and her sister resume hunting late in the day and kill a plump iguanodon cow. As they sit down to eat the best parts first, Raptor Red can smell the young male nearby, hiding in a ravine. Later on, his scent gets fainter and fainter. Her sister comes over to her and lies down. Raptor Red looks at her. She nuzzles Raptor Red and starts to groom her behind her ears, making delicate little bites. Late May. The Turtle of Trinity. It's midnight, but Raptor Red is wide awake because she's curious. Something's going on in the pond, and she wants to know what it is. She's been staring at a V-shaped series of tiny waves that means a living animal is moving just under the surface. Plop. Up comes a little black scaly face, pushing its armored eyebrows just above the pond's surface. The moonlight catches the crests of the delicate ripples widening as they pass outward from the disturbance. Pop! The eyes open, and a pair of orange-red pupils stare at the shore, where Raptor Red is hunched down, motionless but awake. Boop. A bubble of air grows quickly at the tip of the black snout, pauses for a second, and bursts. Raptor Red's mind is on automatic alert mode. She can't sleep. Her sisters curled up in a temporary nest they made just before dusk. Raptor Red flinches a tiny bit as her sister snores loudly. The pair of eyes and bubble-blowing nose disappear under the pond water. Raptor Red is disappointed. She's still curious about that little dark head. She's been watching it for an hour. Raptor Red is a late-night Utah raptor. She was born that way. She falls asleep at sundown but wakes up at midnight. It's genetic, a trait she inherited from her father. Her sister is an early riser. She's fully alert hours before dawn, but she falls asleep 2 hours after dusk and snores all night till she wakes up. Also genetic. Siblings differ in their wake-sleep schedules, and evolutionary forces can work on this diversity. A diverse range of genetically fixed behaviors in a brood can ensure that at least some of the youngsters will survive to adulthood, no matter what sort of environmental challenges are thrown at them. A late-night gene may help survival when prey abundance shifts, and the only vulnerable victims are herbivores who can be stalked after dusk. An early riser gene could give just the opposite advantage, the ability to hunt before sunrise. Raptor Red knows nothing about evolutionary theory, but she does know that her sister snores. She glares at her sister's sleeping but noisiferous form. Just as her sister inhales in preparation for another snorting, wheezing honk, Raptor Red reaches out with her left foot and pushes hard. Her sister rolls onto her side, exhales heavily, stays asleep, and then begins a new cycle of snores, far quieter this time. Raptor Red goes back to watching for the head in the pond. Just an inch below the water, the head is listening. A wide, oval eardrum has been vibrating with each raptor snore. Each has sent high-energy, low-frequency sound waves into the water. Some of the sound energy reflects off the water surface, but some penetrates, generating pulses of waterborne sound. The big eardrum is designed for just such low frequencies. It's a turtle's ear, and it belongs to a Trinity keyless, the turtle of the Trinity River. This Trinity turtle is a female, only 12 years old and 5 pounds in weight. This year is the first year she's mated. Her biological clock went into alarm mode during the night. It's time to try the most dangerous thing her genetically programmed lifestyle demands. It's time to come ashore and lay eggs. No two minds are more different than the raptors and the turtles. The raptor is a bundle of spunky inquisitiveness. She wants to find out about each and every animal in her world. She sniffs strange objects and pokes her snout down holes. She goes out of her way to investigate any strange and new sight. Her mind demands new stimuli, new mysteries to solve. The turtle lives a life of comfortable monotony that would bore Raptor Red to death. Walking and swimming slowly over the pond bottom, picking up pieces of soft vegetation and an occasional hunk of dead fish. Crawling out onto a half-submerged log and letting the sun warm her turtle belly, assisting in digestion. For every 10 degrees Celsius that the turtle guts warm up, the speed of the digestive process doubles. She crawls back into the pond late in the afternoon. Every day the same routine. Every day the exact same 100 square yards of pond bottom. Nothing unexpected, nothing exciting. The turtle's body is undemanding. Her internal metabolic furnace needs only 1/20th as much food per day as a dinosaur of the same size. And so she's content to make do with a brain that is tiny and tubular, a brain that lacks the restless curiosity of raptors. The Trinity turtle would be scared into her shell and never come out if she had to deal with the range of stimuli Raptor Red experiences every day. Plip. With a faint sound, the turtle pops her head above the surface again. The alarming sound of raptor snoring has stopped. Raptor Red creeps forward toward the water to get a better look. Her feet make a rustling noise against the dry ferns. Raptor Red freezes, but she doesn't have to. turtle ears can't pick up soft, high-frequency sounds. The heavy eardrum and the large ear bone attached to it can't transmit such vibrations. But it's perfectly adequate for the turtle's needs. She doesn't have to stalk soft-stepping prey across the forest floor. She doesn't have to listen carefully for subtle variations in the calls of her mate and her siblings. Turtles live a noiseless life. They don't communicate audibly with relatives, and the Trinity turtle, like most of her sister species, finds food in water. Sound is easy to detect underwater. When a crocodile snaps at a fish, the sound waves pass quickly through the aqueous medium and go right through the turtle's body with little impediment. Sound moves through the skin, and then the muscle, and then the brain tissue itself. Water-loving critters have an easy time hearing low-frequency sounds. So there's no need for the Trinity turtle to be outfitted with the delicate ear bone and complex inner ear of a raptor. The only time she will feel a deep-seated anxiety about sound is that one season of the year when she must climb out of her comfortable watery home and seek a suitable sandbank to lay her eggs. Raptor Red watches the turtle head disappear. A line of ripples shows that the turtle is swimming toward shore. Raptor Red crouches down even further, her calf muscles twitching with excitement. She's not hunting now. She and her sister filled their bellies with iguanodon meat late that afternoon. What excites Raptor Red now is finding out something new. Inside the turtle brain is the opposite emotion, fear of the unknown. The Trinity turtle hasn't been out on shore since she herself hatched 12 summers ago. That was the worst day of her life, being tiny and helpless, cracking open her eggshell and smelling 1,000 unknown things. Being one of 50 struggling turtleettes, all scrambling out of their nest, compelled by instinct to climb up through the sand that their mother piled on top of the eggs. Then instinct shifted gears, and the baby turtles were drawn irresistibly downslope to the smell of water. Only 2 baby turtles made it to the water. The Trinity turtle saw a brother 3 inches away get snatched upward in the toothy jaws of a dactyl. Then 2 sisters climbed over the Trinity turtle. A second later, they too were pulled to their deaths. Just as the scent of the pond water was becoming sweet and strong, the Trinity turtle herself was pulled 4 feet skyward, her left hind foot pinioned by a set of sharp teeth. Pain, the first pain she'd ever felt, paralyzed her left hindquarters. Then there was a flapping of huge white wings and a snapping sound. 2 dactyls were fighting over this turtle morsel. She was dropped into the water. The instant she felt the warm summer water engulf her body, a third instinct cut in, to swim down. With 3 legs flailing madly, she made a crash dive at 45 degrees, hitting a pondweed clump at the bottom. She kept going, burying her bruised, half-hour-old turtle body into the mud. The baby Trinity turtle wasted no time grieving over her lost siblings. They meant nothing to her. In the turtle brain, there's an almost complete void where the emotional bond between relatives would be in a raptor. The dead sisters and brothers were mere objects in the turtle's environment. Their sudden deaths were useful as a warning that danger was near, but had no other significance. The Trinity turtle, like nearly all turtle species, understands and appreciates only one individual, herself. She never saw or even smelled her mother, who scooped out a nest, laid the eggs, covered the nest, and crawled back into the water, never to interact in any way with her progeny afterward. A lay 'em and leave 'em parent. And the Trinity turtle has never bonded with any brother or sister, or any other turtle of her own species or any other species. Her courtship, some weeks earlier, did take 6 hours. The competing males had to swim around and around her, trying to impress her with their grace and coordination. She rejected the first 5 suitors. Mating with the sixth was quick and perfunctory. The male left immediately after the physiological act was completed, and now the Trinity turtle ignores the male, even when they happen to pass each other in the pond. To the turtle, the concept of loneliness is incomprehensible. She always has been alone, and any other social state is unthinkable. The Trinity turtle pushes her whole head and neck out of the water and swivels her face around, searching with eyes and nose. Like most turtles, Trinity keyless has only a mediocre sense of smell in the open air compared to the olfactory powers of a long-snouted dinosaur or crocodile. The turtle snout is short, and the space for the smelling apparatus is squeezed between the front of the beak and the forwardly located eyeballs. This cramped olfactory chamber is perfectly okay for underwater work, where scent is carried by water currents. But out-of-the-water smelling is much more difficult, because air currents carry only a tiny fraction of the scent-laden molecules that water can transport. Raptor Red can smell the turtle now. She's eaten rancid turtle meat before, scavenged from carcasses washed up on the shore. But this is the first live turtle scent she's experienced. It's a dank, musky, slightly cool and moist smell. It's exciting, because it's new to her brain. The turtle drags her heavy shell up onto the shore with slow, jerky steps. Her long, straight claws dig into the earth. Raptor Red can't bear it any longer. She jumps on the turtle, coming down on the shell with both hands. The algae-coated shell slips between her fingers and goes squirting sideways. Slap! Slap! Slap, slap! Raptor Red fumbles the slick turtle shell, picks it up, fumbles again. Raptor Red sits down and tries to figure the turtle out. She attempts to nibble a hole in the shell, but her teeth slip off the sharp edges of the carapace. Then she picks up the whole shell in her mouth, blinks twice, and bites down really hard. Ting! One of Raptor Red's teeth breaks off at the base of the crown. The turtle is unscathed. Inside the shell, the turtle brain is not panicked. This has happened before. She's been picked up from the water by rambunctious dinosaurs who knock the shell about and gnaw ineffectively and finally give up. Raptor Red's teeth, which can cut through a 2-ton iguanodon hide, are useless against the 5-pound turtle. The turtle shell is triple-layered. The outermost armor is a thin but very tough layer of dead skin with the consistency of very hard fingernail. There are no nerves or blood vessels in the outer layer, no delicate tissue to be hurt. The shell constantly regenerates the fingernail layer from the inside as the outer surface gets worn and scratched. The scratches left by Raptor Red's teeth do no permanent harm. The next shell layer is made up of convex plates of bone on the top and flat plates on the bottom. Top and bottom shell bones meet on the left and right side at the bridge, a zone of especially thick, strong bone behind the armpit and in front of the hole for the hind legs and tail. The smooth contour of the shell bones doesn't give a predator any thin edges to bite off, and the arched cross-section makes the shell nearly impossible to crack. The innermost armor layer is a brilliant piece of evolutionary engineering, and is the main reason that the turtle is safe from Raptor Red's teeth and claws. On the inside surfaces of the bone plates of the upper shell are long, curved girders of bone that reinforce the shell dome and give it exceptional strength and rigidity. These girders are the turtle's ribs. Unlike the ribs of any other backboned creature, turtle rib shafts are fused immovably to the backbone and to the shell plates. And the backbone of the torso is fused to the underside of the upper shell too, so the entire torso is tremendously strong. When she ate dead turtles, Raptor Red had no problem pulling the meaty hind legs and tail out of the shell. But now the legs and tail have disappeared from this living specimen and are hidden inside the rib-braced armor. Raptor Red sniffs cautiously at the holes in the shell where the legs have withdrawn. She nudges the shell with her snout and tries to stick her front teeth into the holes. She picks up the turtle carefully in both hands and utters a growl of frustration. The turtle keeps her legs tucked safely inside. The Utah raptor is completely foiled by yet another unprecedented and unparalleled triumph of turtle anatomy: the shoulder swivel. The shoulder blade has a pivot joint with the top shell above and the bottom shell below. To swing the entire front leg into the safety of the bone-armored box, all the turtle has to do is rotate her elbow in toward her neck and voila! The whole leg disappears within the capacious shell. No other creature in the entire early Cretaceous world has a disappearing shoulder. Raptor Red slowly turns the shell around. A quick tss comes from the front end, accompanied by bubbles. Raptor Red can see an eyeball staring back at her. Trinitychilus and all other turtles of the early Cretaceous age are primitive in one key area. They cannot retract their head all the way into the shell, the way modern-day turtles can. Raptor Red cocks her head and looks very closely at the turtle face. She lifts the thin outer finger of her left hand and gently probes the shell, half covering the turtle head. She tries to dig into the top of the turtle head, but her claw just slips off. The turtle head is armored with thick bone and a fingernail layer. The law of Darwinian compensation is operating here. As long as turtles are in a state where they cannot retract their head entirely into the safety of the shell, the turtle's skull wears a thick coat of bone armor and hard skin. Raptor Red is experiencing the universal frustration of predators who try to crack a turtle. No animal before or since has had such an unbreakable cranial construction. Right now, the Trinity turtle is just too much of a puzzle for Raptor Red. She sighs. Plop. She drops the turtle and yawns. She's getting sleepy again. She trudges back to the temporary nest, flops down next to her sister, and closes her eyes.
This ends side 1 of cassette 2. Please turn the cassette over and start side 2 at the same point.